Hi, welcome back to English Pot Up. My name is Emma. In today's lesson, we are continuing our slow English shadowing series. This is day 3 of our 10-day journey. And today's topic is one of the most fundamental parts of real communication in English: greetings and introductions. Before we begin, I want to set the right expectation for this lesson. This is not a traditional English class. We are not focusing on memorizing rules. We are not focusing on translating sentences. And we are not focusing on perfect grammar structures. Instead, we are focusing on something much more important. We are focusing on how English is actually used in real life, naturally, slowly, and in simple form. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to natural English and allow your brain to follow it without interruption. You do not stop, you do not analyze every word, you simply follow the rhythm of language. At first, this process may feel unusual because most learners are trained to study English visually. They read, they translate, they memorize. But in real communication, English is not processed visually. It is processed through sound, through rhythm, through flow. That is why shadowing is so powerful. Now let's focus on today's topic: greetings and introductions. In every language in the world, communication begins with simple social signals. These signals are called greetings. A greeting is the first step in human interaction. It is a way of showing recognition. It is a way of showing respect. And it is a way of opening communication. In English, greetings are extremely simple, but they are also extremely important. The most common greeting is hello. Another very common greeting is hi. These two expressions are used in almost every situation. But greetings are not limited to just hello or hi. In different times of the day, English uses different forms of greetings. In the morning, people often say good morning. In the afternoon, people say good afternoon. And in the evening, people say good evening. These expressions are simple, but they carry social meaning. They show awareness of time. They show politeness. And they show respect for the person you are speaking to. Now, let's slow down and think about real-life usage. When you enter a place in the morning, you naturally hear good morning. When you meet someone later in the day, you may hear good afternoon. And in the evening, good evening becomes more common. These are not just words, they are social habits. Now, let's move beyond greetings into introductions. After two people greet each other, the next natural step in communication is introduction. Introduction is how people share identity. It is how people tell others who they are. In English, introductions are usually very simple. A person might say their name, they might say where they are from, they might say what they do. But even the simplest introduction is enough to create connection. For example, a basic introduction in English often starts with a name. A person says their name clearly. This helps the listener identify them. Then, in many cases, additional information may be shared. But this is not always necessary. In real communication, clarity is more important than detail. Now, let's think about why introductions matter. When you meet someone for the first time, they do not know anything about you. Your name is the first piece of information they receive. This is the foundation of communication. Without introductions, people remain strangers. With introductions, communication begins to develop structure. Now, let's explore a very important idea in English communication: confidence. Many English learners feel nervous when they need to introduce themselves. They worry about pronunciation. They worry about grammar mistakes. They worry about forgetting words. But in real communication, people do not expect perfection. They expect clarity. They expect basic understanding. If your message is clear, communication works. Now, let's connect this idea to real-life situations. Imagine entering a classroom where you do not know anyone, or entering a workplace for the first time, or meeting someone in a public space. In all of these situations, the first interaction is usually simple: a greeting followed by an introduction. This pattern repeats in almost every social environment. Now, let's think about how English learners can benefit from this. If you master greetings and introductions, you can already handle many real-life situations. You can meet people, you can introduce yourself, you can respond politely, and you can start conversations. This is a very important milestone in language learning. Now let's expand the idea further. In real communication, tone is very important. The same word can feel different depending on how it is spoken. A friendly tone creates comfort. A neutral tone creates formality. A warm tone creates connection. This is why listening practice is so important, because you learn not only words, but also feeling. Now let's return to introductions again. In many cases, introductions are followed by simple questions. These questions are not complex. They are very basic. They help conversation continue. They help people understand each other. But for now, the most important thing is understanding the structure of greetings and introductions, because this structure is the foundation of communication. Now, let's connect everything we have learned so far. Greetings create the first contact. Introductions create identity. Simple expressions create understanding. And listening creates connection. This is the basic framework of real English communication. Now, let's think about your learning journey. If you are listening to this lesson, you are already practicing English in a meaningful way, even if you are not speaking yet, even if you are only listening. You are still improving, because listening is the first step toward understanding, and understanding leads to speaking. Now, let's reflect on progress. Language learning is not about speed, it is about consistency. Small steps repeated over time create strong results. That is why shadowing is effective, because it builds gradual improvement. Now let's summarize today's idea. Greetings are the starting point of communication. Introductions are the foundation of identity in conversation. Together, they form the beginning of all human interaction in English. Now, I want to encourage you. If you are following this slow shadowing series, you are building a strong foundation in English, step by step, day by day, without pressure, without stress. Just consistent practice. If you are enjoying this lesson, you can continue with English Pod Up. We are creating a complete 10-day structured shadowing program to help you improve your English naturally. You can also subscribe if you want to follow the full series. And you can share this lesson with someone who is also learning English, because learning together always makes the process easier. Thank you for being here today, and I will see you in the next lesson.